start with, can you tell us your views on the R&D capabilities of India, how they have improved over the past few years?
Yeah, see, there is a clear recognition in India that research and development is the key to getting into the next trajectory of growth in pharmaceutical sector. It is a sector which has strong roots in scientific capacities, capabilities, and knowledge. Now, this recognition is not new. The fact is that the top companies, which may be about 50 odd companies, have this recognition and are already contributing a sizable part of their revenues to research and development. But it is essentially the next tier of industry which requires support. And that support has to be both, has to come out of the governmental resources, as well as to be derived out of various other commercial means of financing their endeavor. So this is quite well rooted in the policy that we have on increasing the research content of Indian pharmaceuticals. We recognize the fact that the research will have to be in two segments. One is improving the efficacy and process content of manufacturing, where innovation is the hallmark, and that is where and this remains in the generic segment. So this is where strong support is required, as well as the industry is also in a position to cater to the requirements of financial resources, human resource capacities, and so on. The other segment is where we are talking of drug discovery. Sorry. Now that is an extremely important area, and by very nature of this particular activity, we know that when you invest in 100 odd initiatives, it is one initiative which may succeed at the end of it. So this is where you require a large amount of resources, and we do recognize that this area cannot prosper without governmental support. So it is in this area that we are trying to build up programs and to identify winners and help them. So that's another area. But larger complement of research and development is actually happening in the improvement of process chemistry, in the improvement of processes, in the improvement of quality parameters of generic medicines. So these are the two segments in which research is happening.
So also, sir, the pharmaceutical industry in particular has changed over the past few years, both when we talk about domestic and export. So can you focus on how the dynamics have changed over the past few years, and what have been the reasons for that?
You're talking of the global industry or the Indian industry? See, Indian industry, as you might be aware, that it traces back its origin to the 1972 Indian Patent Act, where process patenting was the order of the day, and this was a decision which was taken very consciously by the then political establishment for a simple reason that India had very strong moorings in basic science, chemistry. Behind India's prowess of good processors and good manufacturers of chemical compounds, it is essentially the base of chemistry education which has stood it in the right manner. Now, so over time, as we became part of the new Patent Act in 2005, the amendments which were carried out in the Act, we have moved from 1972 of process patenting to a product patenting. But these 30 years have given a very strong support to the local industry to improve their capacities for reverse engineering. And that is what has incubated them into the present level of high competence. So you can see that all the evolution that has happened in India in the pharmaceutical sector can be credited to that. But now we are in a different paradigm altogether. We recognize the fact that process chemistry is extremely important, but at the same time, new discoveries, improvements, and innovations are also equally important. So what is turned out is that financial resources, availability of financial resources is of the critical significance. And that is where you see that the 50 odd top companies are positioned in a manner that they can deal with the demands of the new area of research. The second, another 300 to 400 companies require some kind of support, which is what the government acknowledges by itself or through mechanisms of commercial borrowings, to provide them financial resources so that they can reach to a point where they participate in this process. So the dynamics has accordingly changed. For example, you could see a tier 2 company exporting to a less regulated market, like let's say Africa. But with more infusion of capital and technology, it now finds itself capable of exporting to a regulated market like the US and EU. And that is what is like, coming to the best. And now the next challenge could be is accessing Japan, because Japan is not simply quality, but also how you package that quality. So at one point in time, the Indian industry was just not contemplating accessing Japan, because it thought that the non-tariff environment of Japan was so difficult that approaching it will be almost impossible. But today, a large segment of Indian industry is thinking in terms of accessing Japan also, which is a very prospective market, a huge potential market. So you can see that from a non-regulated market to a regulated market to a super regulated market. So this is the way Indian pharmaceutical industry is moving, and it is all happening because capacities are getting built, experiences being drawn, and learnings are coming out of all this, and new human resource capacities are developing.